This is a Clouds Weather Alert.
Good Sunday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center coming on the air because we have some severe thunderstorm warnings, but now getting word of a tornado warning coming down here. So we need to go ahead and jump over to that as things are really escalating. We didn't have any warnings all night here. We did pop in earlier on in the night, but now 4 warnings being issued here within the last 10 minutes or so, including now a tornado warning. So you see the yellow boxes, severe thunderstorm warnings, damaging winds possible, and I even see here that there was a report of gusts there to 63 miles an hour at a buoy station around Cedar Key, kind of maybe prompting all these warnings to be triggered. But now, not just a severe thunderstorm warning, but a tornado warning is in effect now. So we kind of need to transition this really quick here and zoom on in towards St. Johns County. You see that red box there? This is a possible tornado at 6:58 over St. Augustine Sword near St. Augustine, moving east at 50 miles an hour. So we need to get folks in the interior room away from windows. A possible tornado in St. Johns County right now, moving east at 50 miles an hour. So the tornado will be somewhere right in here. So right there on St. Augustine Shores to Butler Beach. You need to take those tornado precautions immediately. Interior room away from windows. You know, closet. That could be one of your options here. Want to put that football helmet on or bicycle helmet on, maybe to protect your head in case there's flying debris. So again, a tornado warning in play. I know it's early. Have those shoes on in case there's some debris there in the wake of this that could cut your feet up. So you need to go ahead and take action immediately. This is a very short fuse tornado warning just coming out as we were coming on for the severe thunderstorm warning. Now a tornado warning in St. Johns County, 7 a.m. on a Sunday, and then we have the winter storm to talk about later on. But right now we have a possible tornado in St. Johns County. So at 6:58, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located over St. Augustine Shores or near St. Augustine, moving east at 50 miles an hour. So we need to take action right now here in this area. As I'm looking at the information, the tornado thunderstorm will remain over mainly rural areas of southeastern St. Johns County, including the following locations like DuPont Center. But there's still some folks in here. I mean, this isn't, totally rural by any stretch. I mean, there's quite a few people in here. I know the statement says rural, compared to maybe downtown St. Augustine, but not seeing debris at least, but still a nasty situation. Don't think the traffic cams would really help because the tornado will be kind of rain wrapped in here, embedded within everything kind of toward maybe the east of all that. So you would have to look, the traffic cameras from I-95 would have to look through all that to try to get to this. So I don't think this would be helpful here. This is going to not last very long. But again, a possible tornado is not in St. Augustine, and it's a situation where it's not necessarily headed right towards St. Augustine Beach, maybe where you see it on the map, but they are technically under the warning. So you need to take your tornado precautions here at this point in time. Again, we have a possible tornado in St. Johns County. So that little blue area, I think that's what really concerned them right there. They didn't like that. That was right there just west of US 1. And that's always the cause for concern when you see an anomaly there in the velocity signatures like that. Yeah, that might have been a little something there right around the interstate, not out of the question there on the debris tracker. Wasn't really definitive. That's pretty definitive right there at the coast now. In fact, that's pretty much over the coastal waters now. So, that's just how quickly that kind of spun on up right around Butler Beach, right off there. Maybe a water spout. There's lightning around, though, in these situations. So you don't want to be out there trying to look at anything because you'll be, just in that. And then just a mess of heavy rain as well. But again, a tornado warning continues there. But now that is quickly getting over the coastal waters, to switch our attention to severe thunderstorm warnings. I see they are seeing the tornadoes potentially over Butler Beach now with an update. We're near St. Augustine, but not exactly as we talked about. It's moving east at 45, but that'll be dropped here in the next few moments. So let's go ahead and jump over to these. We'll get back to it, but don't affect here after we go through all these severe thunderstorm warnings. I know we have to kind of switch radars on some of this, but let me just go over some of the reflectivity because these got issued before the tornado warning, but the tornado warning obviously took priority. So let me go and take that information off, though. As we're seeing, a severe thunderstorm warning of 7:15 for southeastern Levy County. At 6:50, severe thunderstorms are looking at along a line extending from 9 miles southeast of Chiefland to 16 miles southwest of Williston Highlands to 22 miles northwest of Crystal River Airport, moving east at 55 miles an hour. So 60-mile-an-hour gust, Williston, Inglis, Bronson, Otter Creek, Williston Highlands, Lebanon, Williston Municipal Airport, East Bronson also under that severe thunderstorm warning. By the way, we're now getting word they are canceling the tornado warning. It's not off our map yet, but they have officially canceled the tornado warning for St. Johns County. Very short fuse, no longer in effect. That's one of the quicker ones you ever get around here. Only about 5 minutes. Luckily, it's a situation here where we're already getting on the air for the severe thunderstorm warning, so we'll be on here for the duration of it because it'd be, cutting it really close otherwise if you have a tornado warning trying to get on here, within just a handful of moments, 2 or 3 minutes, it would be only on for maybe half or a third of the tornado warning. But it's gone now. That's good. That was very quick. But, okay, another severe thunderstorm warning here toward the east now as we kind of look at things. At 6:55, this was issued for southern Alachua and western Marion until 7:30. We're talking about severe thunderstorms looking at along a line extending from near Bronson to near Williston Highlands to 18 miles there northwest of Crystal River Airport, moving east at 65 miles an hour. Rainbow Lakes Estate, Citrus, Spar, Anthony, Cross Creek, Ocala Airport, Dunellen, Micanopy, Reddick, and McIntosh, and that's severe thunderstorm warning. And then this severe thunderstorm warning, this little Bowen segment around Palatka now. 7:01, and this is an update to this one. Severe thunderstorms are located along the line extending from near Bostwick and Satsuma and near Fort McCoy, moving east at 60 miles an hour. So Palatka, Crescent City, Pomona Park, Hastings, East Palatka, Andalusia, St. Augustine Beach, Lake Delancey, Federal Point, Orange Springs. You're under that severe thunderstorm warning. That one goes till 7:15 here this morning. I know what may have kind of got everybody concerned is this gust here right at Cedar Key to 63 miles an hour. And that was before the warning was issued, but that came across in the system, so making it seem the winds are finally really mixing down pretty rapidly now toward the surface. We had that issue where we didn't really think much of this wind was getting down to the surface. All of a sudden we had that. They saw that. And then after the fact, issuing some severe thunderstorm warnings, and even that very, very quick, one of the quicker tornado warnings I've ever seen around here. I mean, we were jumping on for the severe thunderstorm warning. They said tornado warning right as we, got on there with that. So we covered that for 5 minutes, and it's gone now. I mean, that's how short fuse that tornado warning was. Again, one of the shorter ones you'll ever see around here. But we had that for you here live very early this morning. Again, let's go ahead and just keep on watching things here in the Weather Center. I know we're in alert mode, but that's actually for the winter storm threat, as we're looking ahead toward that Tuesday and Wednesday time frame. But right now we have 3 active severe thunderstorm warnings here on the board. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up our severe thunderstorm safety tips. I know we kind of had to shuffle those around real quick here because it's all of a sudden we got all those warnings that, if you're not having any like that for a while, and then all of a sudden you just get those warnings. I know we were on earlier on in the night, so we gave you some heads up about things, but still, and we talked about even Lake Thirsty, some strong, maybe even isolated severe storms, a possibility, and just all of a sudden you had that indicator there of the winds actually reaching. That's a damaging gust at Cedar Key, a place that was hit by a hurricane so hard with Helene last year. I mean, at Debbie as well, and Milton to a lesser extent, but that verified Tampa Ruskin office, they issued that warning. Jacksonville office shortly after for Flagler, Marion, Putnam, and St. John's. Then right after that, all within 5 minutes, Alachua, Marion, severe thunderstorm warning. Then 8 minutes after that, severe thunderstorm warning for Levy, a tornado warning for St. John's. That's already been canceled. We have the 3 severe thunderstorm warnings here on play again. Very quick how that has transpired here with these warnings. But again, it's about the verification that they realized that there was some damaging wind action there at Cedar Key. So there was a thought process. Maybe these winds weren't reaching. Well, they're now surface-based, and that can be problematic for folks here down toward the south as we're kind of looking at things here. Right near sunrise, that overall pattern here playing a role with things. And let's go ahead and switch over to the other source now. Again, you can kind of see these warnings on this. You see some action toward the Gulf. Luckily, most of this here, as we're kind of looking, this will all start to translate further off toward the south here. You see the marginal risk in play, and our threat here technically after 7 a.m. is only supposed to be down here, but it's actually we're just a little behind the activity. But that'll be more Central Florida is concerned, out of our covered area, out of our 62 counties, pretty quick. So we won't have to be on too much longer here this morning. But that'd be a thing to watch those Orlando and Tampa stations about as we look throughout later in the morning and in the early afternoon hours. But again, just all of a sudden they're getting those warnings to erupt. I mean, so that first morning we started to get ready to go on, and we got a second and third, and had the stream going. We started talking, and we had a tornado warning issued there. Pretty much, right then, it wasn't quite on our one map, but it was, as I was talking, it came up on our other system, and wow. But you see Bradford County, part of our 62, we had a thunder rumbles really pick up around 6 o'clock. We didn't get an advisory after it kind of got past dark. I didn't see a lot in velocity just about like breaking in since we didn't have a warning. We already did it earlier on in the night. Kind of already past dark by then, but kind of a sign to me that things are ramping up here because we hadn't really heard that all night, and it's all of a sudden quite a few lightning strikes in there. So we're getting these storms to become a little bit more, robust here in nature as we're looking at things. As we jump back to our other source now. I know, just kind of looking at everything here, 12-hour rainfall, 3-4 inches in this corridor. I saw Triple R showing that potential, and that's what's happening, here, and what has happened. I mean, east of Stark since midnight, we've had over 2 inches now. We had a good bit yesterday as well later on, so, most rain we've seen in a while. Has to be most rain we've seen all year. Maybe, we've had that drought concern. Maybe the most rain we've seen going back a couple months. I'd have to look it up, give or take. It's, very late, very early. Everyone to look at things. I've been watching things here in the Weather Center to be on guard, for a while. But my point is we do need to rain because of the drought concern. We're going to have the ice later on. And I have a feeling, there's going to be, for one, this is going to make black ice more prevalent tomorrow morning with the freeze warnings in play. Because some areas that don't drain well, this is a lot of rain to get before it freeze. This time of year, we're going to have some black ice problems on Monday morning, but then we'll have the ice storm potentially for some of our area. Other areas will miss out on it more than likely, and then there'll be snow and mixed in here, depending on where you're at. We'll kind of go over that here more later on again. I had an update here for you in the night, but maybe you're just waking up. I'll get to that here in a little bit, but my point being, we'll have to just see how things are after all this in terms of like, if a lot of trees fall, we've got to hope they get kind of picked up there, because otherwise we could have some wildfire concerns still because of all the downed trees and stuff as we look in the months ahead. But really wet today, so it does help in the short term with the drought, but it might actually make things a little more prevalent in terms of very unusual black ice tomorrow around here on that Monday morning. It's not going to be widespread, but those areas that don't drain, there's going to be some puddles that, because the mid or below the freezing point, they're going to turn into ice, in spots there. And that's not something you're used to dealing with around here. I know tomorrow's a holiday, MLK Day there, so not as many people may be on the roads, but you just have to be really careful because, you could kind of spin out here otherwise in this type of situation tomorrow in an isolated manner, especially on a bridge or something like that. But okay, new severe thunderstorm warning now. 70-mile-an-hour winds a possibility, and that's a considerable threat. So Flagler, Putnam, St. John's until 7:45. At 7:11 a.m. here, severe thunderstorms are looking along a line extending from 6 miles northeast of Federal Point near Hastings to near Pomona Park to Lake Delancey, moving east at 60 miles an hour. So 70-mile-an-hour wind, almost hurricane force wind possible now. Palm Coast, Pomona Park, Andalusia there, as well as St. Augustine Beach, Marineland, Crescent Beach, St. Augustine Shores, Butler Beach, St. Augustine South, and Willaca. So you see that new warning popping up. It's the one that goes all the way out here. You know, as we look, as it extends, I do have my other source on. I have my mouse on here. It's not, you can't see the mouse, but just, you know, it's this little border here is what I'm saying. As we do have a new SPC update in now. We kind of pushed it back up to the north just a little. Still a 1 out of 5 though. Let me take off our METARs. But as you kind of see here, 1 out of 5 wrist there. Tornado wind. I mean, that goes all the way down there. Punta Gorda, Arcadia, Sebring, Palm Bay. So, you know, there's going to be more stability coming into play here in theory as we look ahead. So that could be an issue for our neighbors down to the south as we look ahead. Definitely could be an issue for those folks. Yeah, not something we'll be following too much. You know, I do need to get some more sleep here as we look ahead because it's going to be a busy period of that winter storm ahead. You know, once it gets out of our area, kind of, you know, leave it to the Orlando and Tampa TV stations to cover. But, you know, Roy keeping an eye on our local weather. That's why it's so important, you know, to have folks watching things in a local setting because things can happen very quickly. I mean, that tornado warning, I was on top of it, but, you know, that's something that it's a little hard sometimes, you know, to be on top of stuff like that. You know, that came together very rapidly there for a few moments. So, 3 severe thunderstorm warnings here in play. As we're looking, you see the one here, a lot to a Marion until 7:30. Let me go ahead and jump back to the source. In fact, so that's 7:30. They did drop a Levy expiring their warning that was to 7:15 to the Tampa Rescue Office. Jacksonville's in charge of these other warnings. You see, okay, we do have the one for Flagler, Marion, Putnam, St. John's went away, but the other one for the 70 winds replaced it. Yeah, we're just going to keep watching. Okay, they're now going 70 on Alachua, Marion, and Putnam until 7:45. Okay, so that's Ocala, Rainbow Lakes Estates, Interlochen, Fort McCoy, Citro, Lynn Hawthorne, Lake Delancey, Spar, and Cross Creek. So, again, just kind of watching things here carefully. I'm going to check power outage numbers because they've not really been ramping up too much during the night, but now we have some 562 customers in the dark in Alachua County, 135 out in Putnam County, 194 in St. Johns County. So you kind of get the idea. Some folks losing electricity now as we've had, you know, that quick tornado warning. Now a slew here just in 650. All these, including tornado warning, but now a slew of severe thunderstorm warnings. I mean, again, we had the entire night where we didn't have any warnings, and then all of a sudden here, as folks may be waking up, we've now had 6 warnings here in the last 25 minutes or so. BSU, I mean, 5 from Jacksonville, 1 from Tampa, Ruskin, and one of the 5 from Jacksonville was a tornado warning. So this has really ramped up rapidly here. Again, tracking the situation very carefully to protect you, your friends, your family. Had that gust to 60 plus there out toward Levy County, which might have really got everybody a little bit more concerned that these winds were actually transporting down toward the surface because the radar cover isn't all that good out there. And as we look, you can kind of see, though, I mean, this is a tough area to try to warn on, but you can see some, you know, interesting signatures. I've skipped some frames because it's just the way the radar kind of works here. And then when I switch to the views, Tampa or whatever, you know, you kind of take some of the frames the right way, but you can see how that's coming on in. This is always tricky. You can always get a quick spin up tornado when you're kind of in this dead zone here of radar beams per se as well. Gotta be kind of careful with this. We've had it happen quite a bit. It's been a little while, but kind of all of a sudden ramping things up here very rapidly on a Sunday morning. You know, January 19, 2025. We have, again, 3 severe thunderstorm warnings here on the board right now. Let's go ahead and keep looking at things. I know we have traffic cameras. We just wanted to really see the radar carefully here because things ramped up so quickly. Let me see if I can get some of them up, though. Bear with me. Said all those warnings here. I needed to go ahead give you the latest here on everything. Again, just trying to give you the very latest here on the situation. I'm going to go ahead and look in toward parts of Marion County. Trying to keep you guys safe and informed. Just a one-man band, so I kind of have to do all the legwork here behind the scenes as I'm talking to you guys, the viewers at home. You know, sometimes these cameras can be really instrumental in this type of situation, especially when you don't have as good a radar coverage. It is at sunrise, but some of these cameras are not, you know, the finest looking here. It's Sunday, so less people in theory on the road. But see this one out of Marion County, traffic camera, Florida 511 view, I-75 northbound, mile marker 354.3. Again, here's that viewpoint. You guys kind of see that weather story. Definitely seeing that weather story here. Giving that visual out there. Again, keeping you safe here. Keeping you informed. Just going through everything. That rain picking up right here, but definitely see some flashes. Hopefully it's just lightning, not any power flashes, but we'll keep our eyes on things. I mean, power flashes, they didn't necessarily mean a tornado, but it can just mean some folks losing that electricity there. As we're looking at things, as we're tracking the situation. Just going through everything here. Okay, so that's one viewpoint. Just going to keep checking things here with the severe thunderstorm warnings in play. As this approaches Ocala. Here's another view looking off toward the north and the west. I-75 northbound at mile marker 350.8. So, you know, we have these cameras, you know, that are available to us from Florida 511. They're generally at the interstates, so that does help us in this situation. Ocala and toward Palm Coast, which I'll go here in a moment. This is I-75. I'll switch over to I-95 in a second, and I'm hopeful that, you know, these cameras will be really helpful in our winter weather coverage coming up Tuesday and Wednesday. You know, looking at them more about Florida than Georgia necessarily, but still, it's a situation here that, you know, we don't want the bad weather or winter weather, and some of the icing could be so bad it, you know, disables some of them, but we'll just kind of have to see. It could be more about Georgia with some of that worst of the conditions, but again, we're just going to keep tracking things. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go ahead and go over to Palm Coast right now. Checking on some of those cameras in Flagler County. Around I-95, there's a thunderstorm warning over there as well. Maybe considerable damage here. Now, if we got a warning to 80 miles an hour, then that'd be considered a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. And that's something, you know, that would actually trigger on people's phones. But again, trying to give you some views. This is a pretty dramatic one out of Flagler, especially considering how few people are on the roads here this morning. You can see there, this is I-95 northbound at mile marker 295.5. Looking north, again, trying to tell that weather story. It is not fun out there in some of these zones. It didn't even take severe weather to have some of these problems. I mean, you know, some of these problems can arise here, even without severe weather. I mean, those roads, you know, you can have accidents and the like. Let me take Bradford because I can check that pretty easy here with some of my different sources. And okay, so that flashed, but no incidents in Bradford at least. That's good. We had a lot of rain. Didn't have any warnings, but we had a lot of rain. Thought we might have an accident or two, but you know, Sunday helps us out there. But look at all those flashes. Hopefully it's just lighting out power flashes, but this is I-95 there toward Flagler County, toward the East Coast here with some wicked conditions here this morning for sure, as we continue to give you guys the very latest weather information. So, jumping away from that one right now, I think we'll go ahead and kind of just continue here. I know I'm going to check actually as we watch these warnings. We take velocity here again, or our storm relative velocity to check for any tornadic potential. And then I'm going to base. Base still says quite a bit of wind. Tornadic potential, there's some areas of rotation. I don't see a whole bunch there right now, but it really does bow out, which is cause for concern. That's a hail threat in that one here. Further back for an inch, and then this one's for 3/4 of an inch in diameter. But you need to check. I know it's just so crazy here with everything going on. You need to check some winter weather modeling that should be coming out now. The 6Z Euro, I'm going to check, and then I'm going to put up our forecast update, see if any make any changes to that first for the winter storm threat, because that's a really big deal. That's warning alert mode. But okay, so St. John's, Flagler until 7:45. Severe thunderstorm warning continuing. They cancel Putnam, but 70-mile-an-hour winds a possibility. So considerable damage a possibility as we're looking at things here this morning. By the way, look at all those high rainfall amounts reported. Recorded on in there. Baker County, 4 or 5 inches of rain. Even Clay County, 4.5 or so. That's definitely telling a weather story here this morning. So let me go ahead and keep on giving you the latest. Early this morning, I'm just going to check on that model guidance right now. Always helpful to do that. It's just, again, one-man band, so I have to kind of do this as I'm talking to you guys because I want to make sure we haven't had major changes with this here since this has just been coming out since we've been on. Not really major changes. I mean, it's still holding true. I mean, model is being crazy aggressive with the snow. As we're looking toward our Georgia counties, Tallahassee. I'm a little lower still, but they're high in number to close. The numbers that are showing close to my high-end forecast at this point. So that's kind of noteworthy. But as we're kind of looking at things, it still exceeds it a little. But and then the ice threat would, I'm sure, still be pronounced. Let me see our precip types here. Yeah, still want to see that ice around. So my forecast I'm about to say, it definitely could be worse. In terms of the ice around north central Florida, because GFS is not hardly showing any. The American model, the GFS model here is not really showing any ice, but other models are showing a lot. So we kind of have to hedge, kind of the forecast a little here. So let's get into that. We'll jump back over to our warnings here in a few minutes, but the reason we're in alert mode is because of this. This is a really big deal. Historic local snow, sleet, freezing rain event possible. Forecast still is currently very uncertain, so stay tuned for updates. Now, our main event days are Tuesday and Wednesday, but there will be, all this rain we've had, those water, areas there that are not draining, poor drainage zones, those puddles that just add up. Could definitely see, slick spots within them tomorrow because of that black ice forming, getting 32 degrees or below. Now make sure your emergency supply kit is up to date. I know power outages could be possible, so consider stocking up on items like milk and bread, and you may need extra blankets here too. If significant freezing rain accumulations occur, maybe in the form of what you would call an ice storm, might get our first ever ice storm warning for Tallahassee/Jacksonville counties in the history of the Weather Service offices. And major damage to trees and power equipment could occur. Many accidents possible. I know probably going to get winter storm watches here this afternoon for a lot of the area. And then these can be upgraded to winter storm warnings. For some areas, the worst still will be ice storm warning, and then winter weather advisories for some right on the fringes. But bridges could be slick, major roads may shut down. If it's mostly snow, it might be about staying safe while having fun. Now, house fires are more common in this type of situation, though, so you got to think about the dangers of space heaters and candles here. That's very dangerous. That can be deadly. Of course, if we get ice storm conditions to verify as bad as what some of the models are showing, though, then we could end up having a scenario here, sadly, where we have a loss of life around our area in some of those zones that are so hard hit. We could have trees falling on homes, could have just accidents everywhere, absolutely everywhere. If you get like a half inch of ice to accumulate, that would really be historic for our area. That is very significant. Even as a glaze of ice, 100th of an inch of ice, 1/10 of an inch of ice, that's problematic. But if you get a half an inch of ice, that could be really historic in a bad way here, folks. And then let's go ahead and show you here our forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, talked about it earlier on if you were watching, but in general, the wintry precipitation will be most likely between 4 p.m. Tuesday and noon on Wednesday. So, snow 1 to 4 inches for southwest Georgia, like Albany area is what I'm thinking right now. Again, it's all subject to change, but that area, like Albany and the like, a little over 1/10 of an inch of ice over there. But as we get toward the east, but Austin, maybe 4/10 of an inch of ice over and toward that area. That is a big deal. High impact event. I mean, even 1/10 is a big deal, but 4/10 is even, more significant pretty quickly. And could even get higher than that if some of the models do verify, but I don't want to go any higher than that right now because it is so just, unprecedented even to get these type of numbers for our area in some regards. And I mean, very rare if nothing else. In some of these cases where these might not be considered completely unprecedented, we had the 2018 event, but these are very rare, numbers to see. You see ice maybe up to 4/10 of an inch in Tallahassee. I mean, just a glaze of ice shut down the interstates around Tallahassee and FSU for a day back in 2014. So this is not what you want to see. The snow is fun. The ice is very bad. Could have some sleet in there too. Not really going over those numbers, but that's a possibility at times as well. But as you see, snow, Lake City a little bit, but ice the bigger concern. Jacksonville there. You see the situation. A little bit of snow, but ice still 0.25 inches. It's not like rain. That's a lot. And then Gainesville still could get, 1/5 of an inch of ice. That'd be bad news if that happened. Hopefully, some of the trends have been kind of trending more toward I-10 north, where the focal point is. Gainesville would rather see stuff to the north, but we don't want to see any of it to begin with. And then Palm Coast looks a lot better compared to everybody else, where it could have a flurry, could have a little bit of ice. But right now, still got to be careful of the ice because that, even just a little can cause problems because it's everywhere. But not near as bad overall for them compared to other zones at this point. And some of these areas are probably going to have a more of a sharp cutoff with some of these totals where it could just be cold rain. It could end up being Gainesville with cold rain, or then switch. We have to kind of hedge and err on the side of caution that very quickly Gainesville has problems, and that's why we have to kind of stay still pretty high with some of these total numbers like what we have here. So Again, these are your precip types. You see snow is one thing, but in sleet, you see the switching that goes on back and forth, and freezing rain there, that switching as well. It's just a situation where there are, you know, conditions where things are above freezing longer, but then it refreezes there, and, you know, the temperature, the issue, and rain freezes on contact with the surface. So, again, something to be very mindful of here as we do look ahead and toward the timeline. So, just trying to keep you safe. You see what rain is. Still can be dangerous, but it's a lot easier to deal with here, folks. A lot easier to deal with. And I'm going back in weather history here, 48 years. This is what folks are looking at here. I think these pictures might have been taken at night, but nonetheless, it could have been the morning on the 19th there, back in 77. And the storyline with this would be looking at the overall scenario. Look at all that snow that was on the ground. I mean, that is incredible. Be nice to have the snow around here like that. Have a repeat of that history, but the pattern is different. I mean, that system had snow down to Miami. Not going to get snow to Miami this time, but that's for sure. But temperature will be way too warm down there. But if we could somehow get snow here and not the ice further south, that'd be great. The only problem is some of the areas should get ice would be probably a little bit further south than we're anticipating. Somehow, though, maybe profiles in the atmosphere change enough where things work out in our favor for the fun snow and not the dangerous and potentially deadly ice. Now let's go ahead and jump back to radar because we have some warning updates to tell you about as we're at 7:35. Again, the reason we're in alert mode is not because of this, it's because of the winter storm, but we do have these warnings here, some different updates. There even is one now for Lake Volusia, which is outside of our covered area. Okay, so that's going to be for 60-mile-an-hour winds near Fort McCoy right now, but moving east to 70. But then we have the warnings in our area here. 7:45 at 7:26. The update that came in for the warning that expired at 7:45 a.m. So by thunderstorms are looking along a line extending from near Hawthorne and near Fort McCoy to near Ocala and near Rainbow Lakes Estates, moving east at 65 miles an hour. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail possibility. Ocala, Rainbow Lakes Estates, Interlochen, Fort McCoy, Citrus, Lake Delancey, Spar, Anthony, and Silver Springs shores. And as we look further off toward the east, a warning for 70-mile-an-hour winds at 8 o'clock at 7:32. This was issued for western Flagler County as well as south central St. Johns County, eastern Marion County, and Putnam County, all in northeastern Florida. And, well, you can say Marion's in northern, but you get the idea if you want to be specific, precise on the geography. But at 7:32 a.m., severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Lake Geneva to near Fort McCoy, 8 miles southwest of Rainbow Lakes Estates, moving at 55 miles an hour. So 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail possibility. Palatka, Bunnell, Crescent City, Interlochen, Pomona Park, Hastings, East Palatka, Salt Springs, Andalusia, and also over toward Juniper Springs. So it's kind of storyline there. Velocities aren't near as impressive as they were, but let me check the Melbourne radar. Might give us a better angle on this. We had the report, and I think this one really be careful because the radar coverage isn't great down here. Now that we had that report to 60+ miles an hour there at Cedar Key, where they're already so vulnerable from Helene that, and even Adalia going back, and even Debbie, even that fire they had last year. Really, they want to err on the side of caution as we're looking further off toward the east here. Let me just keep looking at my information. Again, looking at the situation right now at 7:37 in the morning. We're just trying to give you the very latest. let me go ahead and see here. This blue circled area, 20% chance of a watch, but it's pretty unlikely that that would be issued here at this point. So that's at least some good news, but still some concern. There's some escalated concern here this morning. I appreciate everybody watching here on the different platforms, like on YouTube. I do see now there was a report. This is pretty impressive. Is this from a spotter? This is a public, okay. Well, I'll be curious to see what type of instrument was used. But 7:33 a.m., 65-mile-an-hour wind gust reported near Northwest 62nd Avenue and Northwest 53rd Street there in Ocala. That was 2 miles south of Burbank. It's in Marion County, and that's impressive. You know, apparently, I mean, we'll find out, but apparently it wasn't an official METAR, so maybe it was somebody's home weather station, or it could have been, I hope not, but it could have been somebody trying to get an anemometer and all this. Although a new warning for Citrus and Sumter now further south, but again, just continuing to watch things here. Let me go ahead and jump back on over as we're going to go to the power outage information. Because it's ramping up here, as you would expect with these winds picking up like they have. We're going to pull that up right here. 6,357 customers now in the dark here in the state of Florida, with most in our area. You see Flagler County just one as of the moment, though, according to the information. I mean, it may update here with higher numbers as we look ahead. 240 customers out in St. Johns County, 1,933 in Duval County, 4 in Clay County, 29 in Bradford County, where I'm at, and the county I'm at. Putnam, 1,129 customers in the dark. Alachua, 354 customers. Marion, 1,474 customers there in the dark. And Levy, 63. Dixie's at 45. Lafayette at 30. I think Columbia, you can kind of tell by the county shading, 142. I know these percentages aren't too high. Putnam's the highest percentage out based on the total population. But that's all from PowerOutage.us. Again, we're going to jump back on over here right now to the other map. You can see here, again, that's very impressive. A 65-mile-an-hour gust there. Yeah, I know we have it where you can actually read some of this stuff, so I'll just throw it up like this. But 65-mile-an-hour wind gust reported near Northwest 62nd Avenue and Northwest 53rd Street in Ocala at 12:33 UTC, which is 7:33 this morning. Marion, Florida there, 2 miles south of Burbank. Let's check on that. That is, you know, that's unusual. Yeah, I'll be curious to see exactly how that was measured, because was it just an estimate? You know, if not, then Faraday numbers could really ramp up if that had actually measured there. This cause for concern a little. I mean, this could be a little bit more robust, or let's try that again, robust. And this is what happens when it's later early. I'm combining my words, but little rambunctious and little robust here, more than what you're, you know, thinking maybe for Central Florida as we look ahead when this gets, you know, out of our areas. They have a little bit more chance to destabilize the atmospheric conditions, that is. But again, we're just going to keep looking here. Keep tracking. Trying to keep you safe. It's Flagler Beach now. Got a gust of 46 miles an hour. 5 miles south-southwest to be precise. And the velocities are not the most impressive, but with all these reports, I mean, we now had it, you know, and the power outages too, but the 2 wind reports, one in Marion, one in Levy, you don't generally get measured numbers like that. I'll be curious again to see. The one was on the buoy, so that was definitely something, you know, out in Levy County. But to get 2 measured numbers, you know, that's why the power outage numbers are going up so quickly. We're getting that wind now to connect to the surface and cause some damage. It really wasn't doing that overall. It didn't seem like, you know, until here in just the last hour or so. And then now we're having all the problems with, several thousand folks in the dark here on our southern fringes. But again, let's go ahead and pull this up. You see the surface-based cape coming in now. That's part of the problem, because we weren't really getting that earlier on. I backed this one up, and you'll be able to see it. This is further north. We had a tornado warning real quick, too, if you weren't with me, but that was in St. John's. But you see the energy values here. There's some, but when you get down here, I mean, that's like double of the energy, and then you have some of the other parameters. That's actually, pretty substantial to get. So that's why your concern level goes up here pretty quickly. Your tornado parameter and your supercell all coming together here with the instability. So again, multiple severe thunderstorm warnings here as we continue to give you the latest updates on all the different platforms: Facebook, Casey Cloud, everybody X Cloud Weather, Twitter /X at Cloud Casey, and YouTube at Cloud Weather. Again, trying to keep you safe. Trying to keep you safe and informed. And looking here at the two warnings at Center area, 1 to 8:15, 1 to 8:30 in our area, 7:45 and 8. So we'll kind of see how these go. I know this would be Tampa office. Let me put my mouse on. Well, I think I got to switch modes. Okay, let's switch back to the source. Put the mouse on. There you go. This is Tampa, Ruskin. This is Melbourne, but these two are Jacksonville. Lotto, Marion, and Putnam at 7:45. Flagler, Marion, Putnam, and St. John's at 8. Where there's damage into destructive wind potential. So now the one box one way, so now it's just merged in the one polygon in our area, and then hopefully with that out of Levy. Levy's part of our area, even though it's Tampa, Ruskin. It's kind of moved out of there. So we may be, I see Augusta 40 at 7:35 in Ocala, but that was reported 3 miles northwest to be precise, but of the city center. But after this warning here, we may be pretty much done. We may get like one more at the coast or something. They have to see these separate, but this shouldn't be a really long fused event, thankfully. This ramped up, but it ramped up in our southern counties. It may be pretty long fused for Central Florida, but again, that's, kind of out of my realm of concern in terms of my 62 counties. But watch those local stations there in Orlando and Tampa for the latest on that. Follow the Weather Service on Twitter /X in Melbourne. They're on their account for some updates, and then if you're in the Tampa, Ruskin area, use their account. But, it's something where it's out of our counties, and I've been up here watching things, through a lot of the night here. So we got to be getting ready for that winter storm, and this isn't the most robust throw we've ever seen, but in our area, we have to be covering it. Once it's again out of our area, we'll let, folks downstream take care of that. Definitely, Marion and Flagler, that's more the Orlando TV market, but we cover them part of my 62 counties here. I'll say this to you guys again if you're not aware. We're in Bradford, but we cover Marion and Flagler. They're both in the Orlando TV market, but they're in the Jacksonville Weather Service jurisdiction. And then we cover Levy, which is part of the Gainesville TV market, but it's part of the Tampa, Ruskin area. Now, the rest of the counties are all part of, except for Levy, every county is either part of Jacksonville Weather Service or Tallahassee Weather Service that I covered, and I'm on for in terms of every tornado warning, storm, and a lot of these thunderstorm warnings, and or if there's flash flood warnings as well. But we haven't had any of those tonight, this morning, and the like. I know we did have quite a bit of rain. Samara's getting 5 inches, but it wasn't, in the most urban areas at the, worst times, and then we had the drought around too. So as we continue to watch, continue to track. Let me see what our camera might be showing us. I know it's going to be getting a lot colder here coming up, but we're not always on when there's daylight. So let me go ahead and see if I can get that arranged to show you guys live on the air here. East is dark, looking back toward the west. There you go. See some of that rain there this morning. The rips now as the worst it's moved on through. So, for those church services here, it shouldn't be too terrible. We have some of the wind picking up some here back behind, but I'm talking about like just not severe weather, but just breezier here as we look But overall, it should be good for you guys if you're not in Bradford to go to church. A little slick on the roads, but you know, it's gonna later in the week we're gonna have problems with a lot slicker on the road, not because of rain, but maybe, you know, some ice concerns. But as we kind of look here, kind of track, just trying to give you that viewpoint here right now. Again, it'll get breezy, blustery out there outside of the rain and the like here. But luckily the precip is, you know, subsiding here after 2 inches since midnight here. It's dark, so that's a lot. Most we've had in a while. Back to the radar we go. Again, watching the severe thunderstorm warning. It's just one now in our area. The other two are outside the region. The Polygon for Lake and Volusia to 8:15. Citrus Sumter to 8:30. Okay, new warning 8:15 now for Flagler, Marion, Putnam, and St. John. So maybe trying to kind of see if we can get this to the coast here. No tornado possible tag or anything, but you know, after what we had already with that one pop up so quick, I just want to make sure we kind of stick with this as long as we have it in our area in case something ramps up real quick right at the coast there on us, because you know, very hard to get that message out real quick otherwise. We were on top of it, you know, and it's a bit thunderstorm mornings having to come on anyway. But there's your new box actually. You see that popping up now at 7:48 a.m. Severe thunderstorms are located along the line extending from near Bostwick to Hastings to near Andalusia to near Lake George, 8 miles south of Ocala Airport, moving east at about 70 miles an hour. This warning here goes for Flagler County as well as southeastern St. Johns County, southeastern Marion County, and also eastern Putnam County. So again, just continuing to track that situation here. We're talking, could have quarter so gale in there, and it isn't at 70-mile-an-hour winds, but Palm Coast, Flagler Beach, Bunnell, Hastings, Juniper Springs, St. Augustine Beach, Marineland, the village of Briar Meadow, Moss Bluff, and Lake Weir could be impacted. So I know the Weather Service is talking about torrential rainfall is occurring with these storms that may lead to flash flooding, so do not drive your vehicle through flooded roadways. So just gotta be careful, but also some of that lightning occurring. So I just don't want to be on the road anyway. I mean, the heavy downpours, the lightning, the wind, some hail. That's not a fun way to start your Sunday. You know, in our southeastern zones, that Bow, they're headed in toward to then St. John's and Flagler. You know, pretty much all. I think it is all Flagler into this. So that's where some of the worst of this could be in our area coming up. It's just some of the lightning trackers picking up on some of the electricity here in the storminess. You see all that popping up. I know we've had some issues with some of that lightning detection here, but it's just popping on for us now. We've had that around the lightning for a while. Just wasn't showing up in our system. I had a lot of thunder earlier on. It was definitely, you know, that electrical energy around. It just wasn't showing up. That was before I got on here this, you know, time around. But we didn't have any warnings. Did not have any warnings or anything, you know, for a long time till 6:50 a.m. and then all of a sudden we got, you know, just one after another very quickly. But that verified report just right before that of, you know, damaging winds at Cedar Key reported, confirmed. So that's problematic. But you see how that's lightning around Pomona Park. I know this could be overdoing it because they have a lot of different lightning sources on, but US 17 there. We're tracking that. You see this nasty bow here. Everything kind of more surface based than it was. So definitely allowing for that damage potential to reach the surface here this morning, possibly. So again, trying to stay on top of things for you guys. Let me check my different sources again. We're almost 7,500 customers in the dark now. So let me go ahead and pop this information out. We're going to switch sources here. So there you go. Again, the latest information from PowerNet.us on the power outage situation as we continue to monitor it. Continue to keep tabs on it. See Putnam County over 1,000 customers in the dark. Marion almost 3,000. Not many in Gilchrist. A lot, but not too many. Few out at Levy County, St. John's. You saw a handful. Flagler. Again, trying to give you that latest. Again, trying to keep you safe and informed. Trying to keep you up to date on everything. Again, watching Flagler County. Some pretty nasty signature accident there on US 17. Definitely could be some hail there. As we watch that progressing. You know, everything's kind of dipping south, but some of the accident in here is kind of moving more easterly. So that's why it's going to take a little bit longer to kind of get out here, but this will be out pretty soon. Which will be good. Want to get this out of the way. Trying to get this out of the picture here. Just monitoring the situation. Again, zooming back in here. Around Pomona Park. You see Crescent City though, over toward State Road 20, getting it pretty nasty right now. Just continuing to monitor the progress. Still got to get this here through areas like Espanola, Palm Coast, Beverly Beach, Bunnell, Flagler Beach. Going to be a rocky start here to your Sunday with these adverse weather conditions. Just checking our information. Trying to get this out of the way here, this warning accident. But it's not quite out of the way yet. Still got another 20 minutes or so, maybe a little less, but close to 20 minutes to track all of this. So, again, still trying to keep you up to date. Again, moving toward I-95 here, our southeastern area. Just trying to let you guys know here the storyline. I may want to pull up some more traffic cameras. Let me do that. It's always kind of helpful to get an idea of what's going on with. Just trying to kind of give you that visual outside. See if we can kind of look at some of these views here to better viewpoints. Okay, we'll go to this one here. So this I-95 northbound at mile marker 295.5, it looks like. Looking off toward the north, definitely not fun conditions. Just, you know, a situation where if you can, you know, you don't want to be out, but further out toward the west, it's okay. Honestly, some areas further west, you need to start stocking up on supplies. You know, and toward the north for that winter storm here coming up, that we've alluded to, could be very significant. The winter storm watch is likely to come into play here as we look ahead. You know, this afternoon, it would seem. By the way, Citrus County, I see a gust of 43 miles an hour reported on a home weather station, but it's not quite to severe limits. But worth noting, always important to kind of give you that data. try to give you the latest. Again, back to the Doppler we go. Zooming on in. See how that lightning there, right around State Road 20, moving toward Espanola, Palm Coast, Beverly Beach, Flagler Beach, of course, even been now before that in the pathway. Let's check some of the Dopplers. See Citrus County here. Some of the activity. Marion County. That's still within our area. It's still 8:15 that morning, so I've got to still get that out of our region. Here you have Bellevue and the like in there. Of course, this warning's out of our area, but Pinal and Palm Coast. Watching that area. That vicinity, that general region. Just a little bit longer, but we still got a lot of population to get through with this. Melbourne Raiders showing some of that wind energy. As we continue here along. Continue to give you the latest details. Trying to keep you up to date on everything. Again, I know it's early for some folks, maybe really late for others, but just trying to let you guys know the storyline. Some weak rotation there, looks like around areas there, southeast of Dinner Island, maybe north side of Espanola. Nothing overwhelming now. That's the good news, but we gotta keep watching, gotta keep tracking. So we had that one tornado warning earlier on. Again, tracking things. That's out of our area, that's out of our area, but this is in our area, and so is this one. Just a little longer. A little bit longer. But we had this concern around. It's not a tornado warning, so in theory we don't have to stay on the whole time like this, but trying to keep you guys abreast of the situation here just a little bit longer. Here to try to make sure things don't spin up on us and the like. Now this segment doesn't look all that impressive, granted it's hard to see on the radar, but how about the Marion segment? You have to Tampa radar, it doesn't look like a whole bunch there, but this other one has all that lightning in Flagler County, so that's obviously stands out a lot more. Southwest of Palm Coast. Let me look on some of our mapping. See what I can find in terms of cameras. Bear with me. News update on Severe Thursday morning, continuing to 8:15 for portions of Flagler, Marion, Putnam, and St. John's. Considerable damage possible. 70-mile-an-hour winds. Just be inside and away from windows. Again, just looking at all my different sources. We're going to check out a camera view. I-95 mile marker 296.5 now. Let me go ahead and pull that one up. So there you go. Not the funnest conditions here with the severe thunderstorm warnings in play. Again, still watching these robust thunderstorms here this morning. Always trying to stay on top of it for you guys. That's why we're on, watching our 62 counties like a hawk, and just trying to be here for you guys in the Weather Center. Very important for me to do that. As I keep looking at the information. Now, just watching the warning continue here. You see some flashes. Hopefully, again, this lightning. But we'll continue to monitor it, monitor the situation. Just watch the different trends. You see some of that rain blowing around there with the wind. Definitely noteworthy. Just not the funnest weather to be out in. I'm going to try to avoid being out right now in that area. You see some of the trees moving around. I know in alarm mode, not really for the severe weather potential, but for that winter storm coming up Tuesday and Wednesday. We're going to be watching that very carefully for you guys as we see these conditions here ramp up just a little. Some folks with their flashers on and the like, but again, adverse weather conditions for sure. This is I-95 at mile marker 296.5. Watching the danger there. Let's go back to Doppler. Look at all that lightning. Again, that's obviously cause for concern. It's kind of confusing. Technically, that one warning hooks to the other, which is so weird, but the way they have that drawn is confusing with the overlap. Just because of the different jurisdictions involved. Let me remind you guys of a winter weather forecast, if you're just tuning in, since, later on that cold weather will be coming on in. So, forecast still very uncertain, but definitely could have some black ice tonight. As we're looking at things, there's spots there that freeze on the road because of all the puddles. But Tuesday and Wednesday, those are your main event days. Late Tuesday into early, and Wednesday morning, really. And the problems really could be arising then. Probably not going to have school in a lot of areas on Wednesday, I wouldn't think, but we'll watch, see how things trend. Just make sure your emergency supply kit is up to date. Power outages could be possible. I mean, if you have mainly the snow, not so much for most of you, but that ice could be, causing major and widespread power outages that in some cases could even be long lasting. So I know it's important to consider stocking up on items like milk and bread. It's all about where you're at in the area, and that zone of the power outage threat being the highest and the ice zone being, that's where that would be. That's, where that threat would be the highest. We're still not exactly sure where that ice zone is going to set up, but you may need extra blankets too. We'll see what corridor that sets up in, but if significant freezing rain accumulations occur, like an ice storm, major damage to trees and power equipment could occur. Many accidents are possible, and bridges could be very slick, and major roads may shut down. If it's mostly about snow, then that mostly would be about staying safe by having fun. But still gotta watch out for house fires. Gotta watch out even, I don't have it on here, but for pipes to burst. Some of the zones that get the coldest, like in Georgia, definitely could really have a harder freeze. But even in Florida, could get there. Those exposed pipes, those can definitely be the ones to burst. So if you're a little more vulnerable to the pipes bursting, you're really going to be alert. But even if you're less vulnerable, stay tuned for the latest details. If we get more frozen precip than what, we're kind of calling for right now, especially, or even if you see what some of the models show, I mean, that, frozen precip can kind of keep the temperature down a little in the days to come after. So that can play a role in things. But you can see here, high impact event for a lot of us. A little uncertain for like Jacksonville and Gainesville. Probably a lower impact overall for Palm Coast, but it's all subject to change still. But 4 p.m. Tuesday in our western areas when we have the bulk of the concern really, setting on up. We could have some rogue accidents early Tuesday, but not too concerned about it. It'll be more of a novelty thing there. But later Tuesday and then to about noon Wednesday, we'll be watching things. We'll really be tracking things here in toward the weather center. So you see Brunswick, got to be careful up there. Even that's a lot of ice if that were to happen. I mean, it's measurable snow anywhere in there is a big deal. Even if it's only an inch, but 4 inches, It's a lot bigger deal. Even that'd be, really getting into the higher end of things in our history in some of these communities. Again, let's go ahead and look back here at the Doppler, though. We're going to get close to wrapping this here soon. I know there's probably a lot of light on some of those traffic cameras around Palm Coast now. So let me see if I can pull those back up. Go back on in there. Definitely probably not very fun. So I'm going to go ahead and try to pull this one up. To be one of them. Mile marker 289, 985 there, northbound. This is looking south, but still trying to tell that weather story. Definitely not fun. Some flashes there. Try to go a little bit off, maybe toward north. Try to give you that story up there. There you go. Again, there's that look at things. So we continue to track it. Definitely not fun on the roads in some of these spots. Should be worse though, as it is in others. But again, some of that electrical energy being sown there. Again, telling that weather story. Just moving some of my different sources to see what I can grab here in terms of camera views. Here's mile marker 297, Florida 501. Well, this camera's really nasty a little bit further south. I think it was 296. I need to pull this up, and it's really nasty there. Wow. That may be, I'm not sure exactly if it's like a parking lot camera or not, but nonetheless, that is really nasty. I just saw it, right ramming up there on the views, so pulled it right in. But that does tell a weather story. Look at that. That is not fun. I'll double check where this is here as soon as I move it away. But so that's just the view there. Okay, mile marker 286. It looks like it's gonna be. Zoom in here. Bear with me. It's the T-Path camera, so that's not right at the interstate per se, but definitely tells a weather story. It looks like maybe a parking lot. But it cleared up just a tad, but it's still shaky. So let me go ahead and pop that on in. Definitely robust weather. Looks like maybe, is that a trash can or a dumpster? I think I moved it maybe in the right spot, but it definitely looked like it. Not a fun start here this morning. Whatever happened. Because that cleared up pretty rapidly, but maybe it's in the right spot, but it's all those flashes. I'm not really sure, to be quite honest. Looks a little bit off there. Hopefully that's not anything too crazy. Hopefully the damage is limited. It's really hard to see that. I'm trying to kind of make it out, to be quite honest, but telling a story. Oof, yikes. Not fun. Not a fun start here. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect. The damage and winds around. Let me switch some views here again. It's very dark on the camera just south on the actual interstate itself. 195 south. Not fun looking at all. Nasty conditions, treacherous conditions here, obviously. Just got to use that extra caution here this morning. Again, you see the traffic backing up to some degree. Just not fun. Not fun. You see more classes. As this is our southern fringe of the area. I'm gonna move some more cameras around. Gonna try to move to mile marker 284. Well, I think I see hail. Yeah, it looks like at least some hail, maybe. It's a little bit more obvious, maybe, if you saw it at the very beginning of that shot. There was some bouncing going on. I don't know if we caught it right in time or if I didn't quite get it up in time, but there was some bouncing going on for just a second. Small hail. Now you see the wind picking up. So definitely seeing those impacts. Gonna probably have some damage reports out of Flagler, whether it's some wind reports, reports of some small hail, or even some power outages. Those can definitely justify some of these warnings here in the post-analysis per se. Again, just trying to give you the latest. I-95 southbound mile marker 284, looking off toward the south and east. I know as we're looking at things, this time of year can be active. Definitely can be active, as we've alluded to here in the Weather Center. I mean, we're right coming up on the 8-year anniversary of the tornadic situation in South Georgia. That was so historic. All the fatalities. I think about 9 years or so since we had a deadly tornado in central to west central Florida, I guess it was. In the middle of the night, it was MLK Day weekend. It was a Sunday morning then. So, that wasn't MLK Day weekend, I don't think, back in 2017, no. But not that I recall it. It could have been, but I know it was definitely an active one there. It was right after the presidential inauguration there, but as we're looking, okay, New Smith thunderstorm warning. Let's see what we have. Okay, so new warning now. Some rotation on that. That's why we can't let this go, Roy. It's right near Corona. It's still 8:45. This is a thunderstorm warning. We have to watch to make sure we don't get a tornado warning out of this. They could issue it. And we have some lightning west of Bellevue. We'll keep watching. Hopefully that's going to end up going to south of our area on that fringe, because Flagler, though, this periphery, that's nasty, though, right around Corona. Let me see what I can get on the traffic system. Florida 511 perspective. See if I can get the right camera angle. That's what's important here. It's hard to try to get figured out sometimes. Again, it's a bit thunderstorm warning at 8:45, but I'm not necessarily seeing any of these cameras in the right spot here. Again, trying to give you the latest. I'm just going to pull one up. So I've been pulling them up and not seeing stuff here, but I'll put one on the screen for you. It's not really exactly in the right spot, I don't think. I-95 there, mile marker 278. looking southwest, Florida 511 perspective. As we keep on looking here, now one of the cameras is down, so I don't know if they just had something happen, but I think it's mile marker 280. 281 is nasty looking, really slow, really back up. Not fun looking on that Florida 501 perspective at all. That is a traffic jam now with these torrential downpours. That is not fun there at all. Don't want to have to go through that, that's for sure, as the situation does progress. Okay, that rotation is right there around the interstate there. That's about to head into Volusia on that segment of it. We'll watch this area here though, west of State Road 11. I'm also watching some stuff in southern Marion County, west of Bellevue. See some, wind enhancement there, southwest of Bellevue. Just stuff that just, it doesn't want to quite get out of the area. Let me see if I have any questions or comments that are new here from the viewers at home. I appreciate you guys tuning in and trusting me. Again, trying to keep you safe and informed. Checking Bellevue there, pretty nasty. Let me see if I can get some traffic cameraed up there. Toward I-75. These are kind of our eyes, for the situation. Don't have as good a radar coverage in some of these areas, so these traffic cameras can really be helpful from Florida 511. As we're looking here at the state of Florida, but I-75 northbound mile marker 340.6 looking southwest. Again, trying to give you the very latest. Check out power added numbers here. Again, I appreciate everybody tuning in, trusting me. I'll check our power added numbers. 7,178 customers in the dark in the state of Florida. 1,141 out in Putnam County according to PowerAdded.us. 3,432 out in Marion County. 137 in Gilchrist County. 165 in Alachua. 34 in Levy. 30 in Lafayette. 144 in Columbia. 967 in St. John's. 704 in Duval. So good little range there, but nothing overwhelming, but you can kind of tell where some of the worst of the weather's been. Let's get back to the Jacksonville radar again. As you see, a lot of the area is clearing out, but it's not Bellevue. They're still getting it pretty bad. The way the angle's back is kind of frustrating here, as we want to try to get this out of our viewing circle completely. You see Southern Flagler there. Watching the situation. Around I-95. And it's starting to really get in the lake, starting to get into Volusia. But Bellevue, if it was just for this, I think I'd be kind of ready maybe just to leave the radar up and wrap my commentary of the situation up. We need to keep our eyes on Bellevue just a little longer, at least see how this kind of trends. As we're kind of watching this, pretty nasty looking. It may even angle back up. Let me kind of watch our loop together. Let's try to watch the angle. It may angle back to southern Flagler. We'll be close, but hopefully not, but it's possible. As we watch here on Bellevue, some pretty nasty weather. Silver Spring soars. You kind of get the idea. Again, it's not a tornado warning. We don't have to be on, but really in these situations, we'd rather be on here to try to protect you, your friends, your family with these adverse weather conditions. Again, severe thunderstorm warning to 8:45, 8:14 a.m. Severe thunderstorms are located along the line extending from 9 miles east of Marineland to 7 miles southwest of Flagler Beach, 7 miles south of Lake George, to Homosassa Springs, moving east at 50 miles an hour. So, hazard 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and penny-sized hail. The source is radar indicated, so expect the impacts to be damage possibly to roof, side, and trees. Locations include Palm Coast, Flagler Beach. As I zoom on out again, the warning is weird because it goes back to the north there, but because of the overall geography of things with this, the area of it and the county warning area. But you have Bunnell, you have Juniper Springs, you have Lynn, Weirsdale, the village of Briar Meadow, Ocklawaha, Moss Bluff, and Silver Spring soars, in addition to Palm Coast and especially Flagler Beach. So, Flagler Beach right there on the edge, southeast edge of the county there. So, right in here. So, makes it a little bit harder to kind of get it out of the picture, the storminess sometimes if it kind of angles back up. Kind of angling back on up there. You see some of that storminess around Bellevue. Silver Spring soars again. This kind of, see, it moves out of it and then kind of back in, and then maybe it does stay south of Flagler, but goes over our far southern fringes of Flagler. Once we get this past Bellevue, I'm kind of leaning toward, unless of course we get a tornado warning or something, really ramps up on us. Probably just leaving the stream to run here for the duration of this, so we, keep it up for folks, for a little longer. Our southern fringes as this kind of transitions off toward just a Central Florida type of deal, but not talk about the scenario anymore unless it's warranted, as we're in our very southern fringes. It's not tornadic weather. Of course, if it was, we would stick with you or come back on the air. But on Bellevue, they're getting hammered right now. Santos, Silver Spring Shores. Let's go to Tampa. That might give us a better angle on this. Some nasty, nasty conditions there for sure, south and east of Ocala proper. US 27, County Road 35. Definitely not enjoying the weather here this morning. Again, some of the worst of this, you see Santos, Silver Spring Shore. It could kind of angle up like this. Pearson's out of our area, but then it might kind of come back in, southern Flagler before it goes back into northern Volusia. So it's kind of an interesting situation to help you guys out with. Again, watching the activity on the Doppler. Trying to keep you safe. So again, this reminds you of the winter weather. That is such a big deal here. Very big deal looking ahead. You see 2, 3, 4/10 of an inch of ice. You think, well, if that's rainfall, it's not a big deal. Well, this is something totally different. That'd be a very big deal if we got those type of amounts. So, gotta really be watching the forecast here. 3, 4/10 of an inch of ice. That can be in this type of setup here. Talking about Florida, that could be pretty much crippling, but even more than that's possible. There's a chance we get a lot less based on some guidance as well. So, still kind of iffy, but winter storm watch is likely going into effect here this afternoon to this evening somewhere, with the next updates there from the Weather Service offices in Jacksonville and Tallahassee is this concern. The highest we've seen for a winter storm since we've been doing cloud weather over 5 years now. So just really be prepared for this situation. Late on that Tuesday, 4 p.m. Before that evening commute, though, would generally be taking place. That's when things could really ramp up in the western counties with the wintry precip, and the threat lasts about noon on that Wednesday. So 4 p.m. Tuesday to noon Wednesday. That's the greatest concern there. Again, you see our winter weather graphic where the forecast is very uncertain still, but the main events Tuesday and Wednesday, black ice is very dangerous, potentially coming up for tomorrow morning though, with the slick road, all those downpours that we've had, the puddles there, some of those not draining, and then you have the cold temperatures below freezing tonight in the morning. That could cause some slick spots in the road for your MLK Day morning. So keep that in mind as we're looking at things here, as we're tracking the situation. Gonna be a big deal here. It could be very big. You know, it could be truly historic if things are about like some of the model guidance says. Hopefully not historic, but we shall see. I mean, if it's historic, we hope it's more on the snow side, which is a lot more fun. The ice can be very bad, very dangerous, knocking trees all down all over the place because the ice is so thick that the tree can't hold it anymore, and it causes it to collapse. That happens up north a lot. But even there, some of the models are going kind of crazy, over ½ inch of ice. They don't even get up north there that often. So this could be really historic and problematic. Okay, so you see Silver Spring soars now. The lightning, some of that cluster, and you do have more coming back toward Bellevue, but since this is technically, and I say it in quotation marks, this stays to be a thunderstorm warning, we're just going to kind of let the stream run for now. See how things progress in the southern counties. If we need to jump back on, we will. Technically still in effect for another 15 minutes or so, but we're just going to kind of wrap covered in terms of the commentary unless it's justified for me to have to come back on. As this, Marion and Flagler, our last two southeastern counties, is getting into word like Lake and Volusia. Could angle back in a little, but hopefully not. We'll see. Kind of watch it like this. Maybe some of that worse of the lightning kind of goes more into this Lake Volusia and kind of stays out of Flagler, but we'll keep it running a little longer so we see what happens. And of course, you have the interactive radar, clutter.com/radar. So always interesting to watch the situation. There's kind of a little bit better angle with Stark and clear. You see it clearing out around Stark. We're 65 degrees, but that's about the warmest we're going to be here. As we're looking in comparison to the days ahead, it'll be 20 degrees cooler. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the highs, give or take. So that's a big, big departure coming up. Very much below average here as we're looking, as we're tracking the situation. So I'm going to cut the mic for now, leave the radar up. We'll keep watching things. If we need to pop back in with more information, we talk, and I will. But otherwise, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. And I'll be back here with the latest in the winter storm situation in the days to come here. So keep it tuned to me for video, live stream updates, but also just, retweeting stuff, Twitter /Cloud Casey, sharing stuff, Facebook there, Casey Cloud Every X and Cloud Weather, and then just, updating you guys, just, minute by minute here to keep you guys informed. But for now, Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect at 8:45. Gonna leave the radar running here for a little bit longer. Stay safe.